David, I came across some disheartening content on the interwebs the other day, and I got to say that my initial reaction is this is why fertility rates are plummeting, or not fertility rates, but birth rates. You know,
Yes,
I'm assuming fertility is still not an issue.
Well, fertility is plummeting too.
Maybe
but, it's because of the goddamn plastics in our food.
Maybe watching this video will lower your testosterone to a point that you can't procreate. But even worse than plastic for fertility rates is liberal women. And that's exactly what we have for you here today. That's exactly what we have for you here today, folks. We're going to do a reaction video.
More dangerous for an erection than a fucking live saw.
We're going to do a reaction video for you on just some random chick, not famous or anything like that, but she has some things to say, and David and I have some things to say back. So with that being said...
Welcome to the internet, bitch.
That's right. Let's get into it. So,
all right. So she's going, first off, I just want to let me...
initial impressions.
Let me set the stage for you. She's clearly done her makeup, picked her cutest outfit, and is sitting there all nonchalant. She's not attractive. Like, she's okay. What would you give her, Dane?
I mean, listen, maybe I'm just not a nice guy.
Don't go with previously.
I'm giving you my objective opinion, not based on her voice and just general disposition later in the episode. My honest assessment. Now, you know, I personally, not a blonde guy, not super into white girls just in general.
You ordered a burger and they brought you sushi. It is completely off the... It was off the
what
menu.
I say with a grain of salt.
Yes.
I'm saying I think she's maxing out at 4.
Whoa!
And if she
holy shit.
If she really gets dolled up,
god damn,
maybe a 5.
God. All right, we'll go with 5. We'll go with 5. Jesus.
Again, has nothing to do with what you're going to see in this video. Okay. It drops significantly based on the video.
Fine.
So
that's fine. Well, there is a reason that we are actually doing this. It'll come to light later. I mean, I think it was initially started out this, but maybe we're just sitting here shitting on somebody.
It's not very Christ-like what we're doing right now.
Leave Christ out of it. But what I will say is I'm always a little more generous. For me, I think if you're a normal weight and a normal height, then we start at 6. It's like a soccer rating system. You start with 6. You start with 6 and then we deviate. Well, she's not a burn victim, for Christ's sake. So 6 is like, I'll kick you out of bed for eating crackers. That's where 6 starts for me. Okay, I'm not gonna put up with all your shit. If all you're bringing to the goddamn caravan is a 6, all right?
Okay.
You're gonna need to work the plow a little bit. Then we're gonna need to get this personality thing going if that's what you're bringing. So anyway, she's starting off as a 6 of attractive for me. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So what we've learned is that Dane's 4 is David's 6. Okay, that's what you can take away from this.
Also too, I'll caveat that I did at a very young age prefer blondes. And I don't mind blue eyes. And, you know,
yes. Also, yes, there is that. There is just different types for different people. So, all right. Now, with that being said,
the light, by the way.
Now, with that being said, David, should we let the girl talk and defend herself?
I really wish we didn't have to, but I think that's the whole point of this video right here.
All right. Let's see how she does.
Story time on how politics ruined my last relationship. So let me set the scene for you. I was dating this guy. We've been dating for 5 months.
Couldn't even make it out of the first 5 seconds. God.
We're going to have to do better than that. Collect a couple points that you want to make, and let's pause a little less frequently.
But anyway, make it through
go ahead. We already did it.
You cannot start for future.
Did she immediately drop to a 4 for you?
Absolutely. Like, you cannot just start a conversation with that amount of energy, with that pitch. No, absolutely not. You dicked it up. So yeah, now I understand that this is going to be a hell of a lot harder than it should have been. And she's talking way too fast. You're talking way too fast, way too high, way too much energy. Bring it down. What she's telling me is that she's going to say that she's just telling you a story, but this just happened to her. Basically, is what I'm
like
what
5
I'm
seconds ago.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like literally, the guy just left her apartment. So
right. Oh,
okay.
Spoiler alert.
Well, she said relationship, so I'm not spoiling anything.
Oh.
Anyway, are we ready? Let's proceed.
And in those 5 months, I was told by my friends, Zoe, he lives in Indiana. He's a fucking Republican. I was like, politics don't matter to me. Boy, was I wrong. And so I was like,
I mean, flyover country, David. That's it. That's all you need to know about somebody. Is he from flyover? Is he from the part of the country of fucking ingrate people that we don't care about?
Right. Yeah, of course. Oh, he's from Indiana. He's a Republican. Like,
gross. Two worst things you could ever be.
Okay, so he's from Indiana and he thinks that fiscal responsibility is important. Like,
shame on him.
How dare he have his own opinions and thoughts?
All right.
It's fine. I don't care. I'm going to get to know him first. We'll decide later.
Good.
So then,
noble.
We kind of start talking about it. I'm a very liberal woman, so I am obviously
shocked, absolutely stunned.
Like very much everyone knows that I'm a liberal woman. My brother's gay. All my friends are gay. Also like abortion rights.
So you just accepting other people are different than you makes you liberal? Well, then fuck, I know a lot of Republicans that are liberals. And you know what liberals are like nowadays? You know, oh, this is perfect. Liberals are turning into vegans. They're literally the people that can't hold it in that they're liberal. They have to tell you that they're morally superior to you immediately in the conversation. Like, this is a 3-minute and 51-second video. We are 34 seconds into it, and she hadn't tell you that she is diehard liberal. And then she gives you 5 facts that I'm sure she would complain about if she had to email that to Elon Musk that makes her a liberal.
Yeah.
So she has a bunch of gay friends. So you only choose friends that are gay? Moving past that part. Secondly, your brother's gay. What the fuck does that have to do with your political leanings whatsoever? What he chooses to do with his body determined your political outcome? Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. But as you'll hear, and I'm going to bury the lead here a little bit, she's going to say, do your research. What research did you do? If that's the level of contemplation that you had to have, is that apparently everyone around me likes sucking dick, so I might as well be a liberal.
And here's another layer to this before we move on is one of the prime criteria. Now, she didn't say this is a prime criteria, but the fact that she brought it up in 2 different contexts, her brother and her friends, that gay is like a big flashing light for being liberal. She is, according to this story, not gay herself. So she, I guess in theory, wants a straight male. But she's saying that, or implying that the hallmark of being a male and being liberal is that you're gay. It seems like she's setting herself up for failure in terms of finding love. Not a whole lot of the pool to pick from, so to speak, if all of the men that are of the political persuasion that she likes are not interested in her from a gender criteria that obviously she needs them to be interested in.
She's looking for a Volvo with a gun rack. She's looking for something that does not exist.
Yeah. She's looking for a vegan cannibal. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what else she has to say.
But anyways, so I would like always ask him. I'd be like, "What? Like, what's your politics? Like, where do you lean?" And he was just like, "Well, like socially, I'm a liberal, but economically, I'm a Republican."
Didn't she just say
humanity?
Didn't she just say that it doesn't matter to her? But then she brought up the subject of politics.
Yeah.
If it didn't matter to you, why'd you bring it up then, Zoe? If that is your real name.
Yeah. Or like, not I'm a card-carrying neocon and I want to bomb everybody that has, you know, a skin pigment 2 degrees less than mine all around the world. That type of Republican. No, I'm not that. I just happen to like tolerate people socially across the board. I make no distinctions there. You know, I'm just fiscally a Republican. Again, and this is what we say all the time in a lot of contexts. These people are completely incapable of seeing nuance. Like they're not making fine distinctions between, let alone a libertarian and a Republican. They're just like, oh, you're not liberal. You're not on my team. You're like scum of the earth and I can't deal with you anymore.
Well, they're looking for correct answers, Dane. They've already got the answer figured out for you. They're just testing you.
Yeah.
Do you answer the question correctly? No. Well, then I can't be friends with you. That's not a good way to go through life.
No,
anyway.
No, it's not. Spoiler alert, she's going to tell you at the very end of the video how she's going through life.
Fuck that. Okay. Also, he was a 28-year-old man. That's the first red flag, because if there's a 28-year-old man and he's single, there's a fucking reason that he's single. But
how old are you in being single there, sweetheart? Anyway, the question answers itself.
I don't know. I just thought you could be a 28-year-old man that still hasn't found a woman yet because he's very choosy and picky. Maybe he just doesn't select sexual partners based on their politics and how they feel about them.
Anyways, so then I'm like, well, like what makes you economically Republican, because like I could give you a whole bunch of fucking facts right now that prove that you shouldn't be.
I'm sure she could.
Please give me some of the facts.
I'm sure she could. By the way, a whole bunch of facts that prove that you shouldn't be. Well, first of all, shouldn't is a normative statement. It's not a positive statement. So
here we go.
You can't prove that somebody should or should not be something. You can give them information and suggest to them that they should change their mind, but you can't prove that they should not be something because, shocker, people can agree to disagree. I know that's not like in your whole worldview, but it's a thing. You should try it.
And he was like, all of his info is from his friends. And I was like, you get all your information from your fucking redneck friends. Obviously, you can't trust them. You need to do the research yourself. And if you do the research, I told him, I was like, I'll support you based on your decision if you actually research it yourself. Like,
that's a lot of fast talking. She wouldn't support him.
That's a lot of fast talking.
That research or not, she would not support him.
That's a lot of fast talking. That's a lot of frenetic energy. And I don't trust a fucking thing that's coming out of her mouth right now, Dan. I got to be honest with you. Because, again, she keeps saying these counter-indicative things. She keeps saying that politics don't matter, but then she keeps bringing it up. And then she keeps saying, like, oh, well, how did you get your information? And then if it's not from CNN or the correct answer, she tells you, oh, you can't trust that friend that's known you for years, that has stuck with you through thick and thin and probably knows a hell of a lot more about you than I do. You have to trust me and my viewpoints because I'm smarter than you because you just met me.
Yeah.
What?
And a friend, which, as you brought up previously off camera, is a friend that doesn't have an axe to grind one way or another in terms of, lying to you. Like they may be wrong. They may have, they may not have their facts straight, but they're not paid to lie to you. Like, oh, I don't know, Rachel Maddow, which I venture to guess is her definition of research. Just, flipping on MSNBC. So
I won't care if you're a Republican. But anyways, and so he was like, Zoe, I have much better things to do than research politics. Like, I have way more important things to do.
He's not wrong.
Okay, saying that to me is absolutely...
Which is a completely rational, normal human being thing to say.
God damn. Like, do you think this guy took time out of his life and his day to record a video like this? Or do you think he's out there enjoying his life, trying to do the things that he enjoys?
Productive.
But there's a lot of different ways. And Zoe, you'll come to find this if you ever do any research. There's a lot of different ways to live your life, and none of them are wrong. They're just the ways that you choose to.
Yeah. As long as you're not hurting somebody or taking their stuff, live how you want to live, Zoe. It's okay. People can do that. And again, I know we should have said this at the outset. We said we were going to off camera, but then we forgot. Listen, this is not a personal attack on Zoe. She just happened to be the unfortunate one dumb enough to put it on the internet. She and what we're talking about...
And she's not the only one. There's millions of videos like this, I'm sure.
Correct.
We're talking to the symbol that she is, not who she is. Right.
She is emblematic of a highly corrosive, highly destructive, incredibly divisive thought process. So that's what we're getting at here. But in terms of saying I got a lot better things to do with my life and all that kind of stuff, again, I'm gonna beat this horse until it's dead, and then I'm gonna revive it and beat it to death again, is that these people are incapable, or they just have no desire to make fine distinctions. Again, for somebody who says, I'm socially liberal, economically Republican, or I don't have a ton of time to dedicate hours and hours of my life to politics or whatever, she is taking that individual, a relatively unoffensive, like not in your face, MAGA hat wearing, Bible beating Republican who she has built up in her mind, as that's what all Republicans are. He's decidedly not those things, told her he's not those things, and yet she's treating him and talking about him like he is, again, John McCain. Never saw a poor brown kid halfway around the world he didn't want to bomb. Like, she is treating and making him, just because the word Republican is attached to him in her own mind, which again, doesn't sound like he's even put that label on himself. He's like, I'm economically Republican, because maybe he just understands that as maybe we shouldn't spend tons of money on everything. But she's taking that person and she is saying, this is the exact same person as John McCain, George W. Bush, Donald Trump. Insert your most feared Republican, and that's who he is to her. Again, completely lack of ability to engage with nuance or subtlety or anything of the sort for somebody that she's in a personal relationship with. It's weird. It's uncomfortable to have that sort of worldview, but yet she and millions of people like her have it, unfortunately.
And by the way, she's making this video because she knows that there's other people out there like her. And this will speak to people like her. Like, this is not, like you said.
She wants her flowers.
She is a symptom of a larger disease. That's all this is.
Exactly.
Absolutely fucking insane, but go off, King. I also just didn't care at that point. And so I kind of put it on the back burner. I was like, I can't fucking take this right now. Well, then we get into a little spat a couple days before election day. And we almost broke up. And so I was like, nah, it's fine. I'll give him one more chance, blah, 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 blah. Well, then election day rolls around and...
She's going to give him one more chance, David. Him.
That's so nice.
She's the one that needs more chances.
Well, actually, before this, he was not registered to vote. He had never voted before. And he told me that he wanted to vote in this election. And I was like, okay, cool. Do the research. But that's a whole other thing. And so the voter registration deadline was approaching. I could tell he was going to vote against me. Let's just say it like that. And so I was like, he is not going to make an educated decision on who he voted for. So guess what? I'm not going to remind him of this voter registration deadline. So then it passed. He didn't register to vote. So there we go. It was saved. He wasn't going to vote. I wouldn't have to deal with it then.
You wouldn't have to deal with it then.
David, this concept of voting, quote, against me. We've talked about this on other episodes about this whole idea that nobody truly ever votes 100% in their own self-interest, right? Because when you are voting for somebody, let alone president, who has an entire slate of policies on all kinds of subjects, none of which any single human being has the ability to be an expert in everything. Like somebody who dedicates their life to learning everything they can about economics is not going to know everything they possibly can about social policy or about medical policy or about foreign policy or whatever.
Nor do we expect them to either.
Right, exactly. So when all of us vote, we're voting in our best educated guess as to what is going to have the best outcomes for us long term, but we all vote for somebody who is, in some sense, sometimes to a greater degree, sometimes lesser, not in our self-interest. So this idea that for her, voting for Kamala is voting for her, Zoe, not Kamala, and voting against Kamala, whether that be Trump or anybody else, is voting against Zoe, is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It makes no sense in the actual real world.
You're infantilizing the American people. You're dumbing everything down, like you said, the nuance, all the way down to he either agrees with me or he's a Nazi or a race. It's like, yeah, if you start applying that to every aspect of your life instead of offering like some amount of credibility to the other side, then you're making the mistake. That's the funniest thing about all of this, is that they're making the mistake in life of not giving the Sun Tzu Art of War, giving every amount of credit to your enemy, because if you underestimate them, that could be your downfall. And sure as shit, like you guys are just off the cliff. You're off the reservation with like your tenets of reality. So of course you're going to unabashedly shit all over a guy that he clearly doesn't get into politics and you clearly do. So if it meant that much to you from the beginning, don't lie and say like, I don't care that he's a Republican or he's a Democrat. Like, you just need him to be involved in politics. That's it. It matters to you. That's like saying, I need a girl that likes to be into sports because I like to watch sports. And then, by the way, Dane, what heterosexual male has ever made a video like this? What heterosexual male says, oh, I was going to sleep with that girl, but she said something about Kamala Harris, and I couldn't. Nothing was working down there. It's like the girls that complain, oh, I need to go get my nails done. They look shitty. I have never met a man that said, I will not have sex with this person because she wore plum out. And yes, that was a Cat Williams joke. I've never heard a man make any of these claims about anybody. We either are attracted to or we're not. We either like hanging out with you or we don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to use her language and I'm going to give her some facts that prove that she shouldn't be, a Kamala Harris supporter. Is that if she's worried about somebody voting for her or against her, let's just go with a couple things that we know Kamala Harris would have been engaged in that are decidedly against her, Zoe. So we know that the money would have kept flowing to Ukraine. We know that the wars would have kept going on. The bombs would have kept dropping. All that money siphoned out of this country goes a long way towards further impoverishing Zoe, making Zoe's dollar less important or less valuable. So that's decidedly not in Zoe's interest. Or, Zoe is a white girl. So to the extent that DEI says that she shouldn't be admitted into university X, Y, or Z because she doesn't raise the appropriate target demographics, that's decidedly not in favor of Zoe. And I don't know if Zoe plays sports, but
all the way down to boxing a man. Why don't you go box a man,
exactly.
Zoe? That's what your side was all about, right?
To the extent that Zoe is an athlete and wants to, play on a marginally level playing field and not have her skull bashed in by a biological male, that's also not in Zoe's interest. So this is an example of that. Like I said, it's a smorgasbord of policies. If Kamala Harris wants to make it essentially a state religion or a sacrament of the state religion to just be able to terminate babies in utero at free will, and that's decidedly in Zoe's favor, from Zoe's point of view, that doesn't mean that the destruction of Zoe's dollar, her inability to compete in sports or get into a good university, that doesn't automatically make all of those things also in Zoe's favor.
By the way, again, it took me this long to realize that she could have just closed that door in the background. I wouldn't have to see any of her fucking junk in her goddamn closet. God damn it, Zoe. She literally just got off the phone with this motherfucker. And Listen, this is like the breakdown.
This is a metaphor for this entire video.
That's right? All I'm saying, man.
There is no reason for us to see this dirty laundry, and there is no reason for us to see the darkness of her heart. But yet she decided to post it online.
What's David's number one rule about posting to social media? What's the number one rule I have about posting to social media?
Generally don't do it other than this podcast.
No. There's one question. And it's just like,
does somebody need to hear this?
Does anyone else need to see this? Then clearly Zoe did not ask that question, so she's breaking every rule that I have about social media. And she could have just picked to fucking close a door and I would have let it all go.
David, you're a white, probably Republican from flyover country, so she doesn't care what your rules are, David.
Yeah, sure. Yep. God damn.
But then we got into that little spat, and I was like, let me try one more time. Let me see if he's learned anything from me. And I asked him, point blank on election day, I'm like, so who would you have voted for if you would have voted in this election? He was like, I would have voted independent. And I was like,
Again, voting for Trump is literally Hitler. It will put her in a concentration camp. And he wasn't going to make that choice. He was going to vote for, the humanity.
Camp way.
Somebody who's not going to drop bombs and, put kids in cages. And that's terrible. It's the same thing as if he were wearing a blazing red MAGA hat to her.
They are so accepting. They'll accept everybody, but they require 100% compliance.
Yeah.
Or we need to blow up all of your businesses and cars and stuff because you're doing things that we don't like.
Because silence is violence, but our Molotov cocktail through your business window is not.
Yeah, nope. It's mostly peaceful.
Do you know that? Yeah. How harmful and basically wasteful that is? And also, check your privilege by saying you're going to vote independently. And he was like, wow.
What?
Yeah, David, because don't you understand? You as a white guy can afford to throw your vote away because no matter who wins, nobody's coming after you. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
That's your privilege talking. That's literally the way they think. That's exactly what she's getting at there.
I don't know if she was paying attention. I'm sure she did all of her research in Ukraine, but I don't know if she knows that in World War III, conscription is going to kick right back in and all this white privileged folk are going to get drafted to go fight the world.
Yeah.
But she's going to do her research while she's back there with all of her white privilege. By the way, you're a white woman. You're in the fucking hot tub with us too, bitch. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're the most, white men are not even as privileged as white women because, again, like you said, when push really comes to shove, if shit needs to be rebuilt or destroyed, I should say, we're getting sent off to do it. You ain't.
Yeah.
So... I'm not even going to address the rest of the throwing your vote away or whatever. We've hit that one ad nauseum. So let's just let Zoe finish out here so we can get this wrapped up.
You got it.
I cannot believe that you think my vote would have been a waste. Shut the fuck up, because it
Second annoying ass scream in one video, by the way. I mean, I get the feeling that
I get the laugh.
She does that a lot.
Like that laugh? I don't like that shit. That shit. Yeah. I can see myself saying some real shit after she did that to me in an argument.
Does the laugh put her down to a 3?
Oh, she's plummeting, my friend.
A waste. look at fucking Philadelphia. All those independent voters could have put us over the edge and could have helped Kamala win. That's another story.
Helped Kamala win.
And so I was like trying to tell him, I was like, listen, that's harmful. You have to make a decision.
Sorry, I was going to let that go, but I can't. If all of the independent voters in Philadelphia would have voted the right way, not even for who they researched, Zoe, but if they would have voted your way, what if they researched and decided that the Republican way was still the way to go? Anyway, point is, this whole idea that your team is entitled to votes regardless of the shittiness of your candidate, right? If these independents would have only voted for Kamala as if she's the heir apparent, as if it's like you should never vote for or consider anybody else but her. Again, it's incumbent upon your candidate and you to the extent that you can sway other voters to convince independent voters to come their way. It's very simple stuff, right? This is exactly what Trump did when he went to the Libertarian Convention, is he knew that although they're small as a voting bloc overall, you need that little sliver to add to your side of the ledger to ultimately win the race. Biden was given an opportunity to come there before, he was kicked out by Kamala et al. He was given the opportunity and he chose not to show up.
Your boy was wearing a MAGA hat before the election.
If you take this attitude that you're above people and you don't need to talk to them or convince them, you don't really get to come along after the fact and be upset that they didn't vote your way. You didn't even try.
Because the way that our voting works, like the two-party system, is a fucking joke. You have to pick a side. The independent party never has a chance.
You're right.
Listen, broken
the two-party system is a fucking joke.
Clock. She got that one right. She calls it a joke, but then you're a terrible person if you don't engage in it.
You were not, there was no script to this video, was there? You just went live and you fucking started throwing haymakers. Swinging wild, Francine.
Again, to your point that the breakup just literally happened. This is pure emotion and rage coming out here. Like the dude just walked out the door.
Yeah, he's hitting up his friend to go have a beer. He's like, I can't believe she just broke up. The guy's like, dude, thank God. Come out to a beer. And now he's out enjoying his life while she's making this video.
Yeah.
Bet money.
Pick a side. And we got into a huge argument about it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. This is my last straw. Oh. Again, I'm a very liberal woman. I have to date someone that is on the same page as me because I can't disagree with someone on something that is so important to me for the rest of my life. I fully respect Republicans. I understand.
You should start dating liberal men like Destiny. They're always really cool. They'll whisper like sweet little feministic nothings in your ears. And then you'll get close to him. You'll send him some nudes and he'll send it to everyone else because that's right. He's playing a game with you. He's saying the words that are the right words that are covering his true intentions. Liberal men can be just as gross as regular men. Only they can't fucking fix a light in your house either. What was that poll not too long ago where they polled a bunch of liberal women and it turned out that they actually preferred conservative men over liberal men?
No, yeah, they do. Of course.
Shit.
Because their innate attraction overrides whatever their political affiliations are. They claim that they care about X, Y, or Z, but really when push comes to shove, what do their actions betray about what they're really attracted to?
That bullshit narrative that they always say, like, I wish you would share your feelings. I wish you'd be more emotionally open to me. And then you actually cry on their shoulders and like,
Yeah, you're gross.
All of a sudden he's gross because he showed his emotions. Yeah. Like, go ahead.
So anyway, Zoe's got another 11 seconds. Let's let her run.
Let's get it.
Stand that you want to vote that way, but for me, I don't want to marry you and I don't want to date you. So we ended it.
Okay.
And
totally realistic.
No regrets. I've been single ever since. It was awesome. It's been awesome.
I love that sign off, by the way.
That sounds pretty awesome to me. Isn't it awesome? I'm having a great time. There's nothing that I regret in my life whatsoever. I'm having the best time. I'm having such a great time. All the times that are great, I'm having right now.
Listen, David, okay? I see cats. I see a lot of cats in her future.
I see. I feel like Johnny Carson, if anyone gets that. You should probably just marry a gay man.
Yes. Which sounds like
probably, what you were looking after.
Sounds like he's probably somewhere in your friend circle, so go back there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so liberal-minded and all that. If that's how you're going to pursue relationships, and you thought that at the end, so we decided that I realized something that was important to me, wasn't important to him, and I need that in my relationship.
Yeah.
That's as long as that video should have been. And that's a normal, very mature way to handle a relationship. Say, hey, you know what? We don't line up. Sorry. Let's go our separate ways. Not, we don't line up. Now I'm going to go walk into my other room and make a hate video about you and post it online.
Yeah.
That's not very mature. So in one aspect, you did the mature thing, then immediately did the immature thing.
Yeah. Don't do that. And if you're going to, don't put it online, because then you might find yourself on WMD Podcast. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us over on X if you want to engage with us there. We are at WMD Pod. You can find us on any podcast catcher. Just search Weapons of Meme Destruction. You can find us on any video platform, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, X. But yeah, do all those things, like, subscribe, share, comment, notifications, all that algo food, wherever you find us. Check us out, spread the word around. If you like content like this, upvote it, get in the comments and tell us you do, and we will do more and more, because
like
we are nothing if not greedy capitalists. And the first rule of capitalism is give the people what they want. So that's what we're here to do.
Maybe that's what we were supposed to do. How to date in a political climate such as this.
Don't.
Yeah.
So with that being said, make sure to catch us on our regular time for our more serious, longer form content on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m.
We got plenty of videos from a long time ago. Just watch one of those while you're waiting on the new one to kick off.
We got 238 and 239 coming soon, whether it's before or after you saw this one. Check it out. You're going to love it. You're going to love us, and we love you.